So, welcome back. This is the D6 and Open D6 podcast. I am Dan Yeager,
I'm Nick.
and
Ru-
today we are going to be talking a bit about rumors of D6 second edition.
Yes, D6 Second Edition is being made by Gallant Knight Games under license agreements, essentially, from the holders of West End Games.
Yeah,
So it is, to a degree, an official relaunch.
yeah, the holders of West End Games is a group called Nocturnal Media, and they've made a couple of games in the past. They made a Zorro game, and uh, that is Gallant Knight Games made a Zorro game.
Mhm.
And then Nocturnal themselves licensed out the D6 system for Carbon Gray. And then the Carbon Gray guys are making a Planet of the Apes role playing game using the D6 system as well.
Those are
But
both D6 Classic.
yeah, which,
Mm.
really doesn't make much of a difference. The
Yeah.
difference really being the Carbon Gray is a little funky.
Mm.
Um, they put in a dice mechanic where it's similar to the hero dice, where when you get ones or sixes on the wild die, you start building up these points, and then the more of these points that get built up, the more like random effects happen to the universe. It's kind of weird to understand, but anyway, the problem is that the statistics are just terrible. Um, there is a 1 in 3 chance with every roll that your wild die is going to hit a 1 or a 6. And if you're attacking, doing damage, dodging, and then resisting damage, you've got 4 chances every round to be earning these hero points. And then every single character that's on in a battle is also going to be building up these hero points. And so I found just the one time I tried, that most of the time you're going to end up with the end of the world in any given battle. But anyway, that's Carbon Gray. That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about D6 second edition. And there's some really good stuff that I've heard about it. And I say I've heard because, well, the Kickstarter's over. The game isn't out yet.
We are all waiting in anticipation.
And it was a really big Kickstarter. I mean, just huge.
Mhm. Yeah, they should be nice books.
Yeah, the covers for 2 out of 3 of the versions that they were talking about looked really good.
Mhm.
Um, One of them not so great, but I've seen worse. Um,
Yeah.
the
I think
art,
you and I both went for all three of them.
no, no, I just did one.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I don't even remember which one I signed up for, just to be honest. Um, but yeah, I figured I just want the rule book. I want to see how it is.
Hmm.
It's not cheap, so yeah, and honestly, it's not going to be cheap for any of these books. And the reason is because you get these hardcover books. Hardcover costs more than paperback. They've got colored images all the way through. Color costs more than black and white, significantly more. I know I write books. I write them all in black and white on the inside and always paperback because I want them to be accessible to more people. But as a lover of the D6 system, I can't resist. I see a book that's just absolutely beautiful like this, and it's going to be the uh, the major relaunch of the D6 system. Hey, take my money.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like it was necessary to support, considering this is my favorite system ever.
Well, I mean, the two of us got together to make a
Yeah.
D6 podcast.
Yeah. Not sponsored, but
But hey, if anybody out there would like to sponsor us to do D6 content, hey, let us know in the
and say
comments.
no. Yeah.
Um, that's not to say that we're going to do like crazy ads on these things, but I don't know what the viewership is going to be for this, but hey, I hope it's great. Anyway, so what are some of the changes that are going to be in this new D6 system? What's one thing you've heard of?
I can't even say. I'm not sure.
All right, well, I've heard a few
Yeah.
things. Um, I heard that they're going to change the way that wild dice mishaps are handled. So there's a really cool mechanic called doubling down. And this was first tried out in the Zorro system, which these guys also made. So you roll your dice and you get a 1 on your wild die. Well, first thing you do is you take that 1 and your highest wild die away, or highest other non wild die away, and um, then there's a chance that you've got a bad effect. You can either accept that it's a bad effect right then and there, and it's like you've lowered your dice and you've critical mishapped at the same time, or you can say, no, no, um, my, the GM says, hey, your blaster jammed or whatever. Um, your character can then go, oh no, my character is great at you know, on the fly mechanical devices. He knows that it's just a battery pack that's a little out of alignment. He's going to whack it on the side and then try to shoot again. And then you give it another roll of just the wild die. And if it's now a 1, well, you get the bad effect. But you get this chance that it's going to be even worse than the bad effect would have been. So you're like, the GM goes, okay, so you whacked it, and now your blaster starts to make this sound, and it's about to blow up. So you got to throw it as far away from you as you can. So this is called doubling down. You either accept the mishap in the first place, or you give it a try to do whatever, and make it so that it's a non-critical mishap. That's what I've heard. They might have a little difference. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing, I hear that they are completely revamping the magic system.
Good idea.
Oh yeah, because
Basically the Force.
well, they're probably going to do it just completely non the force. They're probably going to do it something that will work in any setting, or they might
Mhm.
do multiple different versions of Magic System because the game's supposed to be really modular. That's another thing that they were really selling.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. I also heard that they are separating the way character points are used. So in Open D6 and Classic D6, if you get character points, you can spend them to improve a roll, or you can spend them to improve stats skills later on. And some people didn't like that. So they split it up into hero points and into character points you spend. I don't know how well this works because I saw it work really poorly in Carbon Gray. This is why I mentioned it right at the beginning of the episode.
You must try something before you know it doesn't work.
Yeah. But the fact that they really sold it on being modular, that means that, hey, if it doesn't work, they probably have like a backup to say, okay, this does your game group doesn't like this rule. Maybe try this other one instead.
Yeah. The
So,
original did come with psionics and magic.
oh, you're talking about
So,
OpenD6?
yes.
Yeah, so there was psionics for D6 Adventure, and there was magic, and then I think there was a holy magic system for D6 Fantasy. And what did they have for extra normal for D6 Space? I'm drawing a blank.
I almost want to say that is psionics also. I'm pretty sure that the D6 Adventure book actually has magic and psionics right next to each other.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's kind of silly that I'm the one that's drawing a blank here because I am the guy people often ask about magic systems for D6. Over on the Open D6 Discord, if somebody's got a magic question, quite often I'm the one that says, "Hey, this is how you do it," or "Hey, uh, don't do this. It'll spiral into a crazy problem." Um, so D6 psionics worked clunkily, but it worked. It was one of the better systems. It could have used a lot more uh, polish, but hey, the game studio was going under. They didn't have time. The magic system is more of a cookbook. It's a you take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this next thing, and that kind of gives you the difficulty number. It takes a little bit more calculation, so it slows down gameplay, but it's a lot more flexible.
Hmm. That's the most amazing thing about this system. I've played Mafia games, I've played urban fantasy. I once played a D6 game that was about the fall of Rome. There's just it's so versatile.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I hear that there's going to be a okay. So back to D6 Second Edition. There's going to be a static defense option. I've heard. So with the way that uh, D6 Classic and Open D6 work, if you are rolling a dodge, you obviously roll whatever your dice pool is, and you roll that as your dodge. Now with D&D, you don't do it that way. You've got uh, for really old school D&D, you've got to hit armor class 0, and then for newer D&D, you've got a target number you have to hit in order to hit certain characters with certain armor, etc. The new second edition is going to have an option to do it that single number for your defense instead of a dodge roll. That's the rumor anyway. Don't know.
Hmm.
I'm gonna wait until the book arrives, and we'll have a whole other episode, and we'll tell you how it goes.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. both have our copies handy.
All right. They had a bunch of setting modules that they had as little stretch goals when they were making the game, and they blew away all their stretch goals in the Kickstarter. It was just everyone just massively funded it. I think they were really honestly surprised.
Yeah,
Uh,
the system is alive.
oh yeah, everyone's
There's just
really
so many.
excited.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, now a little elephant in the room. People have asked about what does second edition mean for OpenD6? Absolutely nothing. There's still going to be people putting out OpenD6 games, and they're probably going to be, fully compatible with the second edition games. You just can't write on the cover, "Hey, compatible with this," even though it's the same rule system. In fact, actually, you might be able to put compatible with this system. I don't know the specific laws, but the rule of thumb is you can't copyright a rule system. You can only copyright the uh, art, the specific modules, the specific settings. The things that make the various systems have their heart and soul. But their guts, their actual game mechanics, those anyone can use. So OpenD6 isn't going anywhere. And if the game is really, really, really good, except one thing is just glaringly terrible, somebody in OpenD6 is going to go, "Hey, I'm going to make a little patch to cover this little hole." And yeah, call out to the OpenD6 community. You guys are awesome for making all those little doodads and extras. And call out to the Star Wars community too for man, there's stats for everything out there.
Yeah, no, we're very thankful for all the work that those guys have put in for the last 20 years. There's so many little websites you can find, and even now they're still doing stats. If you like the new stuff, they are statting out the characters in D6.
Oh yeah, we should do an episode talking about places like the Rancor Pit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I went and found my pledge on Kickstarter. Looks like I got the
You went dead there.
print book. I just get the print book? Perhaps. I was gonna say, though the Kickstarter has ended, um, you guys can still pledge to this project and get a book.
Oh yeah, and the Kickstarter was just so that they could get all the funding to make the assets, like all of the artwork, you know,
Mhm.
all of the little extras. That means that all of these things are still going to be around. So they're going to make plenty extras for game stores to buy. Alrighty. Um, Anything you want to say before we close this episode?
I strongly recommend looking into this upcoming system.
All right. Yeah, I definitely. And when it comes out, we'll tell you all about it.
Mhm.
All right. And catch everyone later.
Until next time.
Bye bye.